Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Remette RT Meteor. This is a button operated frame lock. Very, very cool. We do have a few of those on the market. Not a lot though. This is not something that we see super often. Usually what we see is a plunge lock, right? That's a button lock. Or we see a button operated liner lock. Periodically we'll see a button operated compression lock. But I would say the rarest of all of that would be a button operated frame lock. That's cool. You can definitely operate the knife utilizing the frame lock in the traditional way. Or you can keep your fingers completely out of the way and just push the button. I think that's really, really neat. Some people might not care about that, but I kind of like, you know, in this tier of knife, I like there to be a little bit of fidget factor. And personally, I like pushing a button on the side. That feels really natural to me. It's very easy to manipulate. And the biggest thing for me when it comes to pushing a button to disengage a lock is how safe is the locking system. And in this case, while frame locks are nowhere near the most dependable locking systems on the market, they are plenty safe when the geometry is done correctly, plenty reliable. So I would prefer this system over something like a button lock. I think that's cool. This knife comes in a wide variety of different scale materials and configurations and things like that, including even white carbon fiber, or I guess they silver twill, is that what they call it, and DLC if you want. But the prices are pretty reasonable. I'll link it down in the description. It does help my channel and use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's go ahead and get a measurement here. Overall length is coming in. It seems like a lot bigger knife than it actually is. It's about 7.65 inches. Blade length is coming in at 3 1/4 roughly. And then your cutting edge is about 3 1/8. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. I had my Excalibur out. There it is. So up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur, you can see here that it's small compared to these knives, but I still wouldn't call it a small knife. I would call this roughly a medium-sized knife with a lot of presence, just due to the, I don't know. You pick this up. I'm trying to describe what I mean by that. It fills the hand in a way, and the blade-to-handle ratio gives off the aesthetic that it's a bigger knife than you would expect, right? I expected this to come in closer to 8 inches, about 7.75. But anyways, up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Case in point here, the amount of cutting edge on this knife is actually slightly more than the Spyderco PM2. So a good, at least aesthetically, blade to handle ratio. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How is the action? It's really important, right? When you push the button, does the pivot feel smooth? Yes, it does. Very, very smooth. Thumb stud action is great, given that it is a frame lock and not a plunge lock. The frame lock has a detent ball, doesn't rely on the lock itself to be the detent. So the end result here is click, nice little click into the closed position. You can also use the front flipper, which is okay. It's kind of out of ways, right? It'll work. I mean, if I really want to, I can use the side of my index finger. I would say my favorite ways to deploy it are reverse flick or primarily just the thumb flick. But the combination thumb flick and button here really make for some nice fidgety action. I like it. It's nice and clicky and reliable. It's satisfying to deploy. It has all of the stuff that should come with a knife like this. It feels good. I think the detent is tuned really well. I think if you're paying this amount of money for this type of object, right, you kind of know what to expect. Well, not everybody does, but a lot of people know what to expect, and this has roughly what you would expect. It feels good. Let's do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. Slightly thicker, but there is like this big peak where these two bevels kind of come together. So I think it's misleading just a little. I don't really think it's that much thicker, if at all, versus the Spyderco Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This is a pretty easy object to carry. It's not too tall. It's not really any longer than the Spyderco Para 3. Definitely smaller than something like the PM2. Let's weigh it. What do we have for materials here? we have an M390 blade with that nice, I can't remember if Remette is the brand that calls this like their pearlescent finish. It's kind of like an overcast sky. It looks really good. I like it. It's some sort of media blasting, I'm sure. And then there's like a machined satin here on the flats. We have blasted titanium, and in this case, we have the copper carbon fiber mascus or whatever. They have a bunch of different materials. I like how this looks. Looks a little awkward with the bronze colored button there, but whatever. They do have a bunch of different colors. Honestly, the best looking one, and it's also the most expensive one, is the one that's the Alatex or the silver twill with the DLC blade. That one's going to be, it's like $45 more expensive, but it does look really cool. But they've got, I think, some blues and some greens and some other colors in there. Carbon fiber and copper. Titanium backspace or titanium pocket clip, M390 blade. And we have to turn the scale on in order for it to display the proper weight. 4.1 ounces, a little bit heavier than I thought it was going to be, but then again, it is mostly titanium. So you have 4.1 ounces for 3¼ inches of blade. Not perfect ratios, but not bad. Probably going to be a little butt heavy. Yeah, just a little bit. Not too bad, though. Little bit back from the primary index finger position, but honestly, in hand, it feels just fine. Let's do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. So the pivot is a T8. The body screws are T6, T6 for the clip screw, and T6 for the lock bar insert screw. Probably some additional screws underneath this scale, right, to hold the titanium frame, because these aren't bolsters. It's actually all part of the frame to hold on to the backspacer. So you actually probably have quite a few T6 screws for disassembly, but this is a Framelock underneath everything. So despite the excess screws and the fact that they're T6, it still should be pretty easy to take apart and put back together. As long as you have the right tools for the job, should be good to go. I always prefer 2 T8 screws maximum on each side, or all T8 or all T8 and bigger, but this doesn't have it. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's just slightly irritating. Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness real quick. Blade stock thickness on the Meteor coming in at 123 thousandths. So on the thinner side, at least in my book. We weighed it. We did the hardware. We did everything. I think let's go ahead and move on to the meat and potatoes. I do like the blade shape on this. This is what I always refer to as a spear point. So the idea, I guess, is that, you know, it's going to be better at puncturing. Yeah. Also, though, they managed to do that while giving it, unless I'm mistaken, it seems to have a very, very subtle hollow grind. I don't know why it doesn't feel flat to me. If you have this knife in your hand right now, tell me if you think I'm crazy. Maybe it just feels like same. Oh, thin. You know, I feel like that's what that is, and you can kind of see it right here, just a little bit. Sorry, my dog's upset outside because the birds keep landing on the other side of the fence. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the plunge grind right there for people who. You know, this area bothers some people a lot more than others, right? So a little bit, depending on how often you use your knife and how often you plan on sharpening it, that might bother you a lot more. But this looks all right to me. You can kind of think what you want there. But yeah, the blade looks really good. Remette, I think, does a pretty good job of keeping the majority of their branding off of the blade. I do like that they are not putting little codes and little, I never understand that. Like some Chinese companies like have to put these little codes all over their blades, and other Chinese companies, they just don't have to do it at all. Sometimes American companies like Benchmade will put a website on the blade, which honestly, it makes me want to swallow powdered concrete. Like that's, I don't understand why you would do that, but okay. But Remette on one side and the blade steel on the other. What are they hardening this to? 59 to 61. Now, if I'm not mistaken, their range lists the same on the coated blades as well as the uncoated blades, and the implication there is that the 59 to 61 range. Did I say 60 62? Okay, the range is 59-61. The implication there, since the range is the same for all the knives, is that the DLC blades are going to be closer to the 59, and the non-coated blades are going to be more likely to be closer to that 61, that's probably true, right? 60-61 for M390, good to go. I don't like 59, even at the DLC coated ones, but I understand why the coating would bring it back a point. It typically does. I would prefer they bring everything up to 60 to 62, but that's just me, right? This blade should perform just fine. There are some people who will tell, there's always someone who says the vast majority of people aren't going to be able to tell, and that's true. There are some people who will be able to tell, and if we applied the same logic to cars, I want to get the advertised horsepower, right? Even if I'm not a race car driver, if I pay for a sports car, and a big chunk of my reasoning there is that I am wanting to experience the advertised horsepower, even if I wouldn't be able to notice it as well as a race car driver, I still want it because I paid for it, right? Now that comes down to whether or not you agree with the fact that the optimized range for M390 is actually where I say it is, which is slightly based on opinion, right? So some people say 59 is fine. Some people say, no, it needs to be at least 60. I feel like I'm in the 60 plus camp. So that's how I feel. But you can think however you want there. The button color is weird on this. I don't think that bronze or gold goes well with copper. I think that looks a little funky. I think that this should have just been plain, just like silver, and it might be that way on other colors, or it might be different colors. It's just such an odd look to me. I'm not sure why they did that, but okay. And then the backspace, you see, like this, like without the button color, like this all looks like it goes really well together, but I suppose it's a little subjective. Backspacer, nice. You have the little, it's titanium, just kind of a elongated gear pattern. Then you have the little lanyard bar. And then we have the pocket clip made out of titanium. No spot for lefties, right hand only. In and out of the pocket is pretty easy. This is about 50% the length of the handle, so I can feel it, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a hot spot. The jimping just ends right here, and people always point out that's because the jimping is specifically meant for the front flipper. Okay, but you could have extended it, right? I mean, we could have even ended the swedge, like, because this thins out right here, which is probably why they didn't run the jimping any further. So you could have brought the swedge up to here, and it still would have looked cool, kind of giving it that bayonet look. And you could have run the jimping out further, which I think would have made sense considering you have this little flat part right here. Kind of feels like you're supposed to choke up, but the jimping just sort of runs out. So I kind of wish that they would have extended it further, but again, not a deal breaker. We have the stop pin located in its traditional position right here, a little bit of shouldering. We have absolutely no blade play up, down, left to right, no lock stick. Well, that slightest hint. We're sitting at about 2 to 3% lock stick. No pivot lash, very smooth and consistent in here, though I will say that I can feel the bearings. I'm going to start pointing that out to help people understand what I mean by the different tiers of action. The top tiers of bearing and washer action, I cannot feel them at all. So there's a difference between, good action, but I can feel the bearings or the washers, and exceptional, like godly action, where you can't feel it at all. It's a really hard thing to describe, but I think I can reduce it to, can I feel the bearings moving? In this case, yes, but at an acceptable level, right? The premium competition is doing the same thing, right? It would be flabbergasting to get something like the Gen X Primark, where if you own that knife, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That type of action on a $200 knife, not going to happen, right? You'll have people claiming, but it's not going to happen. At least not right now, maybe in the future. But yeah, I can feel the bearings, not in a bad way. I can tell that it's running on bearings, right? No big deal. Good action. We have perfect centering, very nice detent, and no detent lash. What do they want for this knife? The base price, the entry price for this knife is $238. Yes, that's competitive. M390, we got some nice carbon fiber here. You have a titanium, a button-operated titanium Framelock. Remember, we don't base the price on whether or not it's a good value on whether or not it is unique or special. You base it on what it is, how much it would cost to make, right? I mean, whether or not it ends up being in high demand is just up to the consumer. But we have a good ergonomic design. That's great. We have good tolerances, good fit and finish. We got great action. We got nice finishes, nice materials, heat treated decently well, right? Full tie backspacer, full tie pocket clip. You run this against apples to apples competition. Yeah, $238. Not the absolute best price I've ever seen. Sometimes we'll have companies like, Concept or Kaiser running 20 CV. Or some other blade steel with similar build quality material for a little bit less, like about $180. You have Artisan Cutlery hitting a lot of these boxes or checking a lot of these boxes at about $200. But it's still fairly competitive, right? There's still some room in there to say, okay, you know, this is still reasonably fair. And I think this is still reasonably fair. Once you get up over $250, that's like another tier. 250 to 300, it's like there needs to be a little bit more there. So I feel like this is pretty good. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's a good size and it works really well. And if you've wanted to experience a button-operated frame lock, but you want all those premium materials, then yeah, this is a good way to go. So generally speaking, recommendable. I think it's pretty good. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.